tell people if you didn't have Sazone in your house, I wasn't eating your food. Like, seriously. Hey guys, I'm ChefJoya and this is Cooking with Compare. I'm a vegan chef and today we are going to make my chickpea and tofu chorizo tostadas. So we're gonna go ahead and get started by adding some grapeseed oil to our pan. So we add about a tablespoon. And then next we're gonna take our tofu that have been already drained. So when you cook with tofu, you always want to cook with the extra firm tofu. This is gonna have the most texture to it. It's very versatile. You can fry it, you can crumble it. You actually have total control when you're using extra firm tofu, and it absorbs so much flavor. Now I may have a little bit of excess water. I really don't press my tofu for this recipe because I do want some of that moisture in here. Just have to be careful because oil and water, kind of creates a little pop. So you want to make sure you're super careful with this. I'm gonna actually start to press down my tofu to create a crumble. So we want to make sure we get that smash. I love to marinate my tofu all the time, even if it's marinated inside of the pot. And I like to marinate it with a little, I like to marinate it with a little bit of vegan Worcestershire sauce or soy sauce. That's just because tofu absorbs whatever you put on it. So if you ever had a tofu that didn't have much flavor on it, 9 times out of 10 it wasn't marinated. So we want to crumble the tofu because we want this to represent chorizo. So you know how chorizo, the Mexican style sausage, is crumbled. So that's the type of effect that we want for it. So next we're going to add some of our Worcestershire. Most traditional Worcestershire sauces has anchovies in it, but since Compare Foods has such a wide selection of international foods, you can find at least 3 Worcestershire sauces that does not contain anchovies, which makes it vegan. We're gonna add that to it. We're gonna give that a nice mix around. Now you see the oil pretty much is gone, and you want that, especially when you're using the crumbled tofu, because you want it to kind of get that dry heat from the pan. Because even though we want some of the moisture, we don't want it too wet. You don't want to use a soggy tofu. You want it moist, not soggy, and it makes a big difference. So it's kind of almost like you're toasting your tofu. I'm gonna turn my heat up just a little bit higher because we're gonna go ahead and add our chickpeas to it. Now the chickpeas you can add as much or as little as you want to. I like to add about a can of chickpeas to this, and then you can choose to smash it or leave it whole. I love the texture of the chickpea in this recipe, so I do like a simple smash where I'm not smashing all the chickpeas. I'm only smashing a little bit of it, but I like most of my chickpeas to remain whole in this recipe. Now, can you do this recipe with only chickpeas? Absolutely. If you don't use soy in your dishes, if you don't eat tofu, you're more than welcome just to go ahead and use the chickpeas and just smash it up for this. So I added my chickpeas right behind my tofu because I wanted my chickpeas to have the same flavor that my tofu is going to have. So we're going to start off with our seasonings, and we're going to add a little bit of sea salt, and actually add our 2 cloves of garlic. And did you notice I actually used a little bit of garlic in this? Okay. We're going to add some oregano, ground black pepper, garlic powder, cumin, and coriander. And then we're going to add some paprika. And give that a nice little stir. All right, next we're gonna add some Sazone. So we're gonna grab some Sazone. This is a flavor enhancer. So if you don't know what Sazone is, the best thing that you've ever had, or you've never had it. It is a flavor enhancer. It has the culantro, and don't talk about my Spanish, but it has coriander in it as well, and annatto. So it actually gives it like a reddish color to your foods. So this is going to be definitely important when we're making our vegan chorizo. Give that a nice little stir again. You want to make sure everything is coated real nice and evenly. Now we're going to add a little bit of heat. Now you know I had to add some heat to this, right? So we're going to use our crushed chipotles. You can actually find the chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. If you want to cut them up yourself and blend them, you can do that. You can find it as a sauce. There's so many different ways that you can find it at Compare Foods, but I'm going to use the crushed version. It looks so good. There we go. This just feels like so wrong, but so right. It's like all the gold. Now, if you can't handle a lot of heat, use about half of it. But if you're like me, you can add more. That looks amazing. Smells amazing. Now we're gonna add our liquid smoke. Now remember I told you about liquid smoke? I absolutely love liquid smoke. It's another staple that should be in the kitchen when you're doing vegan cooking. It adds a lot of body to your dishes, and you want to use it because you want to give it like that smoky or grill flavor. So if you're substituting your meats out, that smoke flavor is very key to it. Now you got to be careful with it because if you use too much, it'll taste like you're licking an ashtray. So you're going to use very minimum, okay? A little bit goes a long way. We just want to give it a nice smoky flavor as like a meat would have. Now I'm gonna add a touch bit more of grapeseed oil and let this cook for about 2 minutes. I'm gonna give it one good stir for about 10 more seconds, and then I'll let it sit and do its thing. So let's give this a nice little taste. Make sure I get my chickpea on it. That's good. That's real good. All right, we did that. So we're gonna go ahead and build our tostada. Now, I love avocado and onions and cilantro on my tostadas, on my tacos, everything. Like I have to have those 3 things. So what I also love is pickled onions. So I went ahead and pickled some onions. Super simple and easy. It's just some apple cider vinegar, some water, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and a bay leaf. And you have the best thing ever. Cook it for 5 minutes, remove from heat, and there's your pickled onions. So we're gonna slice up our avocado right here, and we're gonna take our lovely tostada. So we're gonna add our tofu chorizo and chickpeas right on top of our tostada. Next, we're gonna grab our avocado, and you can use as much avocado as you want to. And we're gonna add our pickled onions to this. And then we're gonna top it with some cilantro. Now, if you want the cilantro sprigs, you can add that to it. Or you can just chop a couple little pieces of cilantro up, just like that. We're gonna add our cilantro right on top. And there you have it. This is our tofu, chorizo, and chickpea tostada. Let's give it a try. Is it on my nose? It's so good. Y'all gonna like this a lot. This is so good.